Hello, I am Paula Bennett and welcome to my New Zealand Herald podcast, Ask Me Anything. Now, one thing I've learnt in life is it's never too late to learn something new. So on this podcast, I talk to people from all walks of life to hear about how they got to where they are, get some advice and guidance on some of life's biggest questions. Today, we're going to focus on a topic that's very personal for me. As you all know, I had a full gastric bypass in 2017. Crikey, that's a way away. I've shared a lot about my journey, but today I've brought along Lloyd Burr to talk about his experience as well. My hope is our story will help anyone out there either contemplating weight loss surgery or dealing with having had the procedure. Lloyd, thanks for coming along.
You are more than welcome. It's great to be here.
That's good. Rules, you ready?
Yep.
I can ask you anything.
Great.
You don't have to answer.
Oh, great. I'm used to that.
Yeah, you're a journo.
Used to
so
that
you
from
get
you.
that, eh? Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm training people, I just go, just don't say anything.
Just go off on a tangent.
They can't have silence, right?
Well, silence sometimes is the most powerful thing that journos are terrified to use because we hate silence, right?
Yeah.
We're always filling it in.
Yeah. And we call this a safe space. So we just do the no judgy.
Cool.
No judgy.
I'm not going to judge you, but people listening might judge.
Well, they can do what they like because I'm not sitting in their home or in their car telling them what to do, but we won't.
Can we have opinions?
We can certainly have opinions.
What's the difference between judgments and opinions?
Well, my daughter and I have this. What's the difference between gossip? Oh, my God, did you hear that Sheila slept with Jeffrey's husband? To then, no judgment, no. You do you, girlfriend.
Okay. It's like, did you hear about this? But I don't care. Free world.
Well,
okay. I think I'm on board.
Do you think that? No one's questioned me on the judgment thing.
Yeah. I just think that, I don't know. But we'll put a tick and see where it goes.
Of course, we always have opinions. Well, actually, we are. It does fill in with what we're going to talk about in the second part of this podcast, which people judging either people with weight or who've had surgery. Yeah. So we'll ease into that. Okay, I just gave you smoked marlin. Would you cook that for dinner?
Yes, absolutely.
These are my quick fires.
Oh, yeah. I've just harvested a whole lot of basil to make pesto for dinner tonight.
Wow.
And probably lunch tomorrow and dinner because.
And would you put that over pasta?
Yeah, or sometimes not even pasta. Just you just chuck in some veggies, some cucumber, some capsicum, maybe some mushroom, raw mushroom.
Yeah.
Chop up a few beer sticks, bang them in.
Yeah.
And then just mix up maybe some cherry tomatoes.
That basil would go with smoked marlin, by the way.
Oh, it would.
Because you need something to break it down. Because smoked marlin can be quite gamey and quite. Bit of basil.
Make a pesto and put it on.
Okay.
Yes, you've just given me some smoked marlin. Delish. I'll cook it. Might not be tonight.
What would a favourite day look like for you?
Going and watching airplanes at the airport.
Wow.
Isn't that weird? I used to do this at Heathrow when I was in London when I'd get a day off or something, and there were planes taking off and landing every sort of 90 seconds at Heathrow, and there's two runways, and it's just like you got these A380s flying over, and it's just awesome. So that's cool.
Just
relaxing.
Constantly, right?
Yeah, maybe going to Legoland, playing. I'm actually a big kid. Yeah.
Are you a big kid?
Yeah.
Or are you quite old and you?
Well, planes and Lego and that's all kind of
knitting.
Oh yeah, knitting's quite an old thing. But that's not an ideal day. I wouldn't, an ideal day for me is not sitting at home knitting with a glass of red wine. My rule is I only knit if I've got a deadline, like I've got to get.
Oh, do you?
Or if it's pissing down with the rain.
Yeah. And then it's like, why not?
Yeah.
Would you, if you'd been an MP, would you knit in Parliament?
Probably not.
Who did Matiria?
Yeah, Matiria used
was
to
the one name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think because it's good to be able to keep you because it's really good to. When you knit, you listen to stuff really well. Like I like listening to music and knitting. I can't really watch TV and knit because I'm always looking down and you can't. Yeah.
And in Parliament, you do need to get the feel and the vibe of the place. And
just be focused on the Parliament.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you like the days in Parliament, working in there?
I did. There were times in which I hated it. I'm sure you had times in which you hated it. It was terrible for the diet.
Yeah.
It was terrible for work-life balance because you just constantly were on call.
Yeah. And you ended up socialising a lot with your colleagues.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just
like you Junos all hung out. Yeah.
Yeah, we all just hung out together.
Yeah.
By the end of it, I likened Parliament to Hogwarts with in book 4 or 5 when there was just Dementors hanging around, and it just, the whole place just sucked your soul out of you in the end, and I was like, I'm not really in it. I did come back because I had a 6-month stint last year, and I came at it with a whole sort of fresh set of eyes, and I was just like, I'm just not going to care that much about this place. Like I used to think it was like the pinnacle of journalism, and you gotta, but it's like, it's not a big deal.
No.
You just have to, you can't.
I have no doubt that I had PTSD when I left, or was it just exhaustion, or was it just, and you're on high alert, and you're always on high alert, and, it took me probably more than 6 months to actually unwind and find myself again.
It would have been all of those things, I reckon.
Yeah.
Because there was so much that changed in your final few years there. And there was, not only did you were the deputy prime minister, and then you were the deputy leader, and then there was all the turmoil within the party, and there was a whole lot of media chasing you around. So there was so much change in your life probably then. And then you just were like, I gave my all to this job, and I don't like it anymore, and I'm out. What am I going to do? And then you have an existential crisis. So no wonder there's.
And then people want to talk to you about it all the time, right? Because the public still think that they can and that they want to. And in your head, you're screaming at them, I don't give a shit anymore.
Well, people still doing this, like the airport, restaurants,
all the time.
cafes on the street.
I remember when after that election, when Winston chose Jacinda, and and everyone was coming at you, and I just remember walking through the airport, and this man was like talking to me, and he's just like, I'm so angry, and I went, oh yeah, well, nothing I can do about that, and I kept going, and he's like, no, you don't understand, and then he was like, really physically close to me, and he was just so angry, not at me, at the situation, and he just wouldn't stop. And in the end, I stopped, and I turned around, and I said, I'm angry too. What do you want me to do? I can't make you feel any better about how it is.
Sometimes that's like, you need to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
You probably felt like that a lot in Parliament when we were chasing you around the corridors and stuff.
Yeah.
I just been like, I've answered your fucking question. Shut it.
Yeah.
We're done here.
We're done.
Like, I can imagine what it's like. But
so how are you at the moment then? Because, God, you're up for another bloody big change.
Yeah. Well, within the space of a year.
Yeah.
Been made redundant twice.
And both jobs you loved.
Yeah,
right?
both jobs I loved.
I've got to say, both jobs I think that you were bloody awesome at.
Thank you. And it's hard to convince yourself that you are when you're like, oh, am I the reason that this is happening twice? So you do go through, like, I'm going through an existential moment at the moment, wondering what I'm going to do. Is this the end of the news media as we know it in New Zealand? The mediascape's changing so rapidly. It's kind of disintegrating before our eyes, which is so sad. So it's now going, well, TV3's all I've ever known, with a brief stint at MediaWorks when that sort of split happened. I don't even...
Should you become a plane controller? What are they called?
Air traffic controller.
Air traffic controller.
Yeah, so I'd have to go and retrain, but then there's the issue, I've got a mortgage to pay.
Yeah, but you've got a good voice, you see.
Yeah. I could do air traffic control. It's a lot of training. I'd have to move to Christchurch, but I could rent out my place. Then there'll be interest deductibility, so maybe it's all lining up. I don't know. Then one of my mates was like, "You should stand to be the mayor of Tauranga, because Tauranga is where I'm from."
Oh, they need a mayor.
And then Amanda Gillies on Friday on the AM show, she was filling in for Mel. She outed me. Was like, "Lloyd's going to run for the mayor of Tauranga."
There you go.
So it might be you and me both.
Hey,
running for the mayoralties.
Well, and if you need some help with campaign, just let me know.
To be honest, I don't think I've ever really seriously considered public life. I was put off student politics at OUSA.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, I was just like, we were there and everyone was arguing about quorum and standing orders. And James Meagher was around the table then. He worked for you for a while, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Great, mate. Great.
He was there, and I looked over at the writer for The Critic magazine, the student magazine, and she was there just having an absolute field day, just having so much fun, and she just took the mickey out of all of us every single week. And I thought, that is the better job to do. Yeah. And so that's when I finished up at Otago and went to broadcasting school. Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair, absolutely. So, I mean, you've talked a bit about your mum, and I quite liked when you were talking to your mum about coming out, and your mum sort of went, I just don't know why it's a big deal. Mm-hmm. And then when did you say you publicly came out?
15, I read.
It was on Twitter. I think it was either 2014 or 15.
And how long had you been in Parliament before then?
Life is based on elections.
I know, mine too. So had you been in Parliament before then?
Yeah. I was in Parliament when it happened because I was working at Radio Live, and my colleague Jess, there was some drama going on, and I was trying to divert the drama away from her. And then so I just said, I can't actually remember what my tweet was, but I came out on Twitter, and it just says, here's something that you don't really need to know about me, but I'm gay.
So you see,
what was a rainbow emoji?
Nice.
I told.
What was interesting was that when I read that it was like 2015 or 16, I thought I always knew you were.
So you've just got a good gaydar.
So I just don't remember you coming out. I was kind of surprised when I read that because I was like, oh, it must have been before I met you. But I don't think it was. So I just must have just not. And of course, I never raised it because a bit like your mother, who cares?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's not a.
I
wasn't single and ready to mingle, so I didn't need to know your sexuality.
What would you have hit on me if you were cabinet minister hitting on a little Radio Live reporter?
Yeah.
Wasn't that little
20 years age difference.
It's weird, and it's hard for me to kind of get context to it because when you're in that moment and you're in the closet and you haven't really told anyone, it just becomes a way bigger deal in your own head than it actually is.
Yeah, they all say that.
So everyone's like, oh, that's fine, it's not a big deal. And you're like, yes, but for me it is. It's taken me until I was 25 at that stage, I think, to come out.
Yeah.
26, I think I was 26, so it's taken me ages because I didn't feel like I fit in with the gay community. I didn't really have that many gay friends. Most of my friends were straight, and part of me I was like, I just don't want to be gay. It's just easier to be straight, and so you can get married and have a family and do all that type of stuff. And so there was a whole lot of stuff going on in my own mind, which made it a much bigger deal than it really was. So when I did come out, post, people were like, yeah, Paddy, I remember coming to the office and he was like, congratulations, mate. And I was like, what for? He's like, congratulations. I was like, what are you congratulating me for, Paddy? He's like, do I have to bloody spell it out, mate? You're gay. Congratulations. And he shook my hand, and it was just.
I outed my best friend.
Did you?
Yeah, he still likes to mention it.
Publicly? Or?
Yeah, quite accidentally.
As a politician, you did?
No, God, no. I was trying to remember how long. I knew you'd ask me how long ago. It would be 35 years ago. 30 years ago. And I knew it was a secret, but I just kind of forgot, and we were in a bar and we'd had too much to drink, and we were sitting there and it was a bar we went to all the time, and these guys walked in that we didn't know, and I looked at him and went, fresh meat. Yeah. And he just went bright red, and then it was like all his mates all around, and they all looked, and then it was like he was.
Was it a big deal? They were all just like, oh.
They didn't care. No.
Exactly.
It was him. That's what he says now. He said it was just too much in my head. It was the best thing that could have happened, actually.
Sometimes you need a little nudge. And I remember Barry Soper gave me a nudge when we were in Singapore on a PM's trip, and we called in there. We had one night only in Singapore, and we ended up at a bar in the 7 floors of Hawes. Yeah. We weren't in the Hawes bit, I just want to make that clear, but we were in the sort of the downstairs because it's a place to go. And I remember Barry just being like, my daughter's gay and my son's gay, and, it's good, mate, give me a hug. And he was just like,
embrace it, get on with it.
And I was like,
what are you doing?
So it's like such an open-minded
So do you think it's easier now? I mean, it is easier. I can tell you what, it's easier now than it was 35 years ago.
I think it gets easier all the time, but it still doesn't diminish the internal turmoil that people go through. And I've got a pretty open-minded family, and I still found it hard. So there will be people who are from really closed-minded family or religious families, or people who go to Destiny Church or who are in Gloria Vale who will never come out because they're just so scared, and that's I think pretty scary.
That's awful. Yeah.
But I think overall it's probably getting easier.
When they feel they can't be themselves and, all of that. It's just absolutely. Okay, I really want to get into the guts of it. So when we come back, Lloyd and I are going to share our personal experience with weight loss surgery and give some advice to those contemplating. We're going to answer all those questions that everyone asks me almost on a daily basis. Back with you shortly. Okay, Lloyd, let's talk about this because I've talked openly about my journey and with a full gastric bypass, which, by the way, most the people around me told me not to go public, but I just couldn't imagine not going public. And you've equally publicly talked about it, haven't you?
I have. I mean, I remember, was it during the election campaign and you had to go and get a knee surgery?
Yeah. Not quite knee surgery, but I had to get injections into my knees.
Okay. I thought...
And I had a meniscus and I had this going on. I had arthritis. And that was a catalyst. I'd been thinking about it. And they said to me, you need knee surgery. And unless you lose 20 kgs at least, you'll be doing it in the next year. If you do that, it might be more like 10, 20 and you want to try and wait.
Okay.
And I haven't had knee surgery.
So I thought when your office told me that, because I was trying to get you on, you were climate change minister and you just come back from Paris, maybe. I can't remember. Anyway, the memory fades. But I remember your office was like, she's not available for 6 days. She's going and having knee surgery or something like that. And I was like,
okay.
And then I remember a few years later thinking, was that? Did she go and have the gastric bypass?
No,
then?
I had it after the election because like you, I remember my memories in election cycles.
Yeah.
So I went and had it on November the 18th, 2017.
Oh, yes. Of course, that was the that was the bowl latte and the...
Yeah.
What was the thing that...
paninis.
I think that's right.
Yeah. So... Anyway, but let's get back to this because it's quite I found it interesting that the advice I got 6.5 years ago was don't go public.
Yeah.
And then I just couldn't even imagine, because I have a lot of people talk to me about my weight. A lot of women in particular saw me as a little bit of a role model that you could still, and I am saying this kind of a bit arrogantly, but that you could still dress well, that you could be in a powerful position and be a bigger person.
Well, when you did, and you were fashionable.
Because they felt invisible or not that they fit, and they saw me as someone that did fit, which was nice.
You flaunted it with your high heels and all your fashions and stuff. You still rocked it.
So I couldn't imagine not telling people, right?
Yeah, because you were shrinking before their very own eyes.
Yeah, and they would come up to me and say, "You've lost weight. How have you done it?" What was I going to do? Lie to them?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's the hard thing. It was exactly the same for me as well when I was in the UK. And because I was the Europe correspondent on TV and I was shrinking before their very own eyes.
Yeah.
In the space of 6 months, I think I'd lost about 25 kgs.
Yeah, it's a lot, eh?
Yeah, maybe even more than that. And so I was just shrinking. And lucky it was going into winter, so I was then like wearing all these winter going into summer. So I was initially wearing all these big jackets, and then all of a sudden I was taking them off and it was like, what's happened to Lloyd? And people were thinking,
you're sick?
Oh God, he's got AIDS because I'm gay. Everyone assumed it was AIDS, or he's got a cocaine problem, or he's got cancer, and so I just had to tell people. So I told my boss and one of my good mates in the UK. Yeah. Because for those who don't know, I had a camera ops changeover. So one of my cam ops in the UK, he flew back to New Zealand and I had a new one fly over, and there was about 5 days in which there was no camera and I had it as annual leave. And so I flew from London to Izmir in Turkey, and I paid 5,000 New Zealand dollars, which is £2,500 cash. Private hospital, put you up on like the Hilton the first night, and then you go to this private hospital. It's brand new. Surgeon, the whole team was great, and you pretty much go on a conveyor belt and you just they take your blood pressure, they do a scan of your tummy, they go through a psycho test to make sure that you're doing it for the right reasons, then they do a gazillion different scans, and then they put a camera down your tummy to make sure, there's just all the stuff conveyor belt, and they kind of like tick, 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 cool as, you're in tonight. And so then that night you go in, and I was in with this really massive Irish guy who was about 60, maybe 65, and the advice from the doctor was don't do it. You've had heart failure.
Wow.
You shouldn't do this. You should actually ring your wife and say goodbye if you're going to do this. And he's like, no, I'm going to get it done. If I die on the operating table, then so be it. Had the surgery, and he survived, and the doctor was like, it's the biggest stomach he's ever seen. He was like, there's this photo of him holding the bit of stomach that he had taken out. He was my So
buddy. Did you have a full gastric bypass?
No, I had a gastric sleeve, which is they just take out 70% of your stomach.
Yeah, which is quite different.
And turn your stomach into a pretty
So mine's a bypass, and in that what they do is they literally sew your stomach up, which by the way they leave in you.
Oh, really?
Weird. Yeah, it's still floating around in there. It's the only bariatric surgery that can be reversed. Because it's still there, you could technically reattach it. The stomach's
still alive, and is it producing
I don't know if it's alive, but it's floating around in there. I mean, I'm trying to lose weight. You think you'd pull it out.
Yeah.
It'd be worth a couple of kgs, couldn't it?
Yeah, you could be.
Something.
Probably is. Probably worth Or at least half a kg.
So whereas yours, in some respects, is bigger surgery because you have more stitches because you're literally cutting that stomach.
Yeah, they just
by
go
2/3 kind of thing.
Down the side of the stomach, so the stomach isn't as bulgy. It's just, and then they take that bit out.
Yeah.
And it's all done keyhole surgery.
Yeah. Mine's keyhole as well.
It's kind of like the Southern Cross, I used to call it. And then they pulled it out through one of the holes. But the thing that hurts is in order to move, to get to the stomach, they cut the 4 little holes in your belly. Then they fill you with gas.
Yeah.
And then move all your organs around to get to the stomach to make sure it's a nice, clean sew up and stuff. And so then then they squish it all back together, and then you get gas pains from your body trying to get rid of all the gas. And that's the sore bit. Did
you have to diet beforehand to shrink your liver or not?
No, they did tests like that.
Yeah.
I think I wasn't allowed to eat. I could only drink for certain, like water you could have.
So that's why, if you're thinking about surgery, they will make you go on a diet beforehand. And so first of all, you go on quite a strict diet to try and lose a bit of weight and prove that you have got your head in the right space. And then equally, it's because as you do that, you are shrinking your liver. And so it makes the surgery easier. And then you go on pretty much liquid only, which might be your Optifast or something like that. And the reason they do that is, as you're cutting into your stomach, they don't want a bit of broccoli or a bit of sausage or something hanging around.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so they want a clean stomach, which is why they go liquid only. Because people will be wondering.
We were like that, but it wasn't as strict. I've had mates who had the same surgery in Australia, which is kind of what motivated me to do it, as well as a conversation I had with you at the Seabell Trinity Wharf.
Oh, yeah.
Tauranga, after you had it, and you were talking about how you'd order a dessert and you'd have one spoonful and you go, cool, done.
Yeah,
yum. That's nice. Yeah, and you were doolally as heck at that time. I remember you were just so bizarre during that moment. I don't know what was caused it, but I remember the story that I did on you that night. You were just like, should we go for a swim? Let's dive off the front. Come on. And you were just like, you were so bizarre. Anyway, I was like, she's just living life. So there was that in my conversation with a mate in Australia who had it done.
Yeah.
So she had lots of that Optifast.
So there's fat shaming, right? Did you feel bigger? I mean, why lose weight? I mean, it's healthy and it feels better and life's easier.
Yep.
I never felt this actually, but my mate Chester, who was an MP and passed away, but he used to say to me, I feel so ashamed that I couldn't do it myself and that I had to have surgery.
Yeah, part of it's like that. I've just tried, and before the surgery I'd done 4 half marathons and I'd been running but it's just like, what else is there for me to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I've tried it, and maybe it is, I feel like a little bit like that I'd failed and I couldn't do it myself, but there's just so many different factors that go into weight gain and being big, and I'd always been big my whole life.
But then did you read Oprah in the last few days? And, she's admitted that she's taking whatever injection it is for weight loss, and she said, I always used to believe that it was about willpower and that slimmer people just had more willpower and I lacked that. And she said, what I've realised since having these injections is that, no, it's not. They just don't think about food all the time.
Yes. It's exactly that's the difference, right? You're just addicted to food. And I still think about food all the time, but I'm like, I'm full. If I eat it, I'm going to...
Yeah. So let's talk about that. So, I think the surgery's a lot more invasive, but you don't care, but you won't feel good for 3 or 4 days afterwards. I didn't. I mean,
for 3
but then
3 days maybe?
Yeah.
3, and then they did
mine's more the anaesthetic than actually feeling sore, to be really honest. Anaesthetic just knocks me around. Yeah, it does.
Oh, I mean,
all different.
I was just like, cool, well, I've got a flight booked, and as long as I got my certificate.
Yeah.
I mean, it was risky as heck. I went to Turkey, for goodness sake.
Yeah.
I mean, to a city I'd never heard of, Izmir. Yeah. And yes, I flew back, and then I was drinking coconut water for like a few days, and then it was like, Jacinda Ardern's here. Great. And then we went around London, then we flew to Zurich, and we went to Davos, then we went to Brussels, and so then we just went straight. But I just like, my cameraman had to carry all the gear because you're not allowed to do heavy lifting. No,
you can't.
And everyone was like, "Why, do you want to come for a beer?" I'm like, no beer.
No. So I went back. I went to Parliament 6 days later. So, you know what I mean? And I was fine. And I looked after my daughter my stepdaughter had an operation on her jaw. And so we used to laugh and we used to go, she's the body and I'm the head. You know what I mean? Because, we both were sort of like around home a bit for a few days. But isn't it funny? I turned up to the airport at 6 o'clock on Monday morning and I saw Dr. Shane Retty, who's now the Minister of Health, and this should give everybody a bit more faith. And I remember standing there and, hi, how are you? And he looked me in the eyes and he went, you're in pain.
Wow.
And I was like,
new.
Yeah, I am.
So was that from the anaesthetic or from the gas pains?
Just gas and and I was just still healing.
Yeah.
Like it's not an open wound, but
they are
I say
chopping
people,
a whole part of your organ
like it's a wound inside of you. Yeah.
Just going back to your point about what prompted it, the fat shaming. It was when I was doing it was when Facebook Live was all the rave, right? And Paddy had sent me down to Queenstown to chase after the spies.
Yeah.
The Five Eyes spies were having a big meeting at the Milford, I think it's called the Milford Golfing Resort.
Millbrook.
Millbrook. And so I went there and I bought a selfie stick and I had the News Hub Politics Facebook page or whatever, and I was just doing a walkthrough to see if the security guards would come after me, and the police did, and it was just, I thought it was hilarious, but it wasn't really that funny. But lots of the comments came up, and one of them was news chub, and it was that point in which I was like, it does suck being a fat person on TV.
Yeah.
Like, no, you just... Yeah. So
and I just got it all the time, right?
Yeah.
That fat shaming and people putting me down and the name calling, and I didn't really care because I'd just think, well, you're a loser if that's where you're going.
But did you really care though?
Well, you had to care a bit, otherwise you're not human.
Exactly. It's just like, you just get bombarded with insults and it gets to a point in which you're like, this is just not cool.
Yeah.
What? Is it now up to me to then change it to fit, so...
Yeah. And then your clothes aren't quite fitting, and then you get more obsessed with food, so you eat more, and then you put on more weight. And then, I used to say to John Key, it's actually quite exhausting. So I said, when I sit on a plane, I'm so conscious that I'm spilling over the seat that I'm actually holding my stomach in and clenching my muscles so that I'm not touching the people next to me. I sit like that for an hour, 4 times a week as I fly around this country for my job, that it's exhausting actually. Like, it's physically exhausting. I said to him, I'm walking along and I'm going to a meeting, and literally as I'm walking ahead, I'm thinking I could go up those stairs, which will be quicker, but I'm more likely to be sweaty, or I can go the longer way that's not uphill, and then walk a bit slower, but then I'll be late, but at least I won't turn up puffing and sweaty.
Yeah. You see that you go through all of these different things.
Yeah.
I turn up places sweaty, like I turned up here today sweaty because I was just pacing after making some pesto. But yeah, you do. There's lots of different things like that.
Yeah, that headspace stuff.
Like chafing is another thing.
Yeah. Anyway, so weight loss. I thought
everyone wore anti-chafing tights, but it turns out it's just bigger people.
Do you think that the gay community is more into the body beautiful and can be a bit more judgy?
100%. Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the fat gays are just marginalised, I feel.
Do you?
Yeah, and well, it's just kind of the gay community as a whole is weird because you put into these camps. There's twinks, and then there's your muscles, and then there's your hunks, and then there's your bears and your muscle bears and your cubs, and there's all these different categories.
Wow.
And then it was like, oh, so what kind of gay are you? I'm like, how do you answer that? I'm just a Lloyd gay. Like, I don't know. But yeah, there are so many different people who you look at their different profiles on dating apps and stuff, and they're all just like slim, fit, must be fit, or a 6-pack, a bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah, look after yourself was one that people use all the time. So yeah, there is
that added pressure because of
unintentional fat shaming that goes on.
Unintentional?
Well, not unintentional, but indirect. So no fats. It's just like must look after themselves.
Yeah.
Or exercise. I work out all the time. So, well, when I was 145 kgs, I used to exercise all the time. But
yeah,
exactly.
Yeah,
so I think the gay community is pretty hard. I mean, it slowly is changing, but there's a lot of people in the community a lot of people, I hate saying in the community because it's not really a community. There's a whole lot of people who are gay who have got lots of different issues about themselves because they've always questioned themselves. And so fitting in and finding out who you are and all that type of stuff, it probably is a whole lot more complex than just simply calling it fat phobia or whatever. But yeah, it's...
It's a thing.
It's a weird place.
Yeah. So life after it, right? Yes, you go on liquid for a while. Yes, you have to think a bit about what you're eating. But I ate lots of pate because the liver in it was really good, and you're looking for soft food that sits nicely in your stomach, Because you have got a wound in your tummy, so you don't want to frickin' have it try and munch its way through a piece of steak or a sausage or something.
It took me like a year before I had a steak.
Yeah, so give it a bit of time.
You just don't.
But you won't miss it. Now, this is what we can't tell people. Well, we're going to tell them, but they're not going to believe us.
Yes.
Because no one has ever believed me until they've had the surgery. You won't care that you didn't have a steak for 12 months.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, I don't. I remember at the time I was like, I'm not actually that hungry because your stomach's just so, it's healing so much and it's so much smaller that the little chemicals that it makes to tell your brain that it's hungry aren't there anymore.
But you don't miss food.
Yeah.
It's really weird because food has dominated your life.
For so long.
And all of a sudden it's not the most important thing in your life.
Yeah. And I still love cooking, so I'll make stuff. I remember I made a whole lot of lamb and kumara pies and stuff and took them to New Zealand House because there was a function going on there. I was like, I just loved cooking. I was like, great function, I'll make lots of pies. And so I loved cooking, but it's just like, you just don't have the eating part of it.
So I still cooked too, by the way.
That changes over time,
cooking.
though. Like now I can eat, I can't even eat a whole steak, maybe half of it, and then I still can't eat KFC. Like I'm just like, I'll eat the batter of a bit of a chicken, but if I eat anything really greasy, it's like, oh.
So at my, for probably about 2 years afterwards, I could smell food and know whether it would make me throw up or not.
Oh.
I could smell bad fat, good fat. I could, it got to that point where, I could eat a few French fries, but I knew if it had been cooked in clean fat or if it had been in a bit of a,
That's fascinating.
Yeah, it is, eh? And then
I had that. But
so I probably threw up 2 or 3 times a week, and I probably still throw up 1 or 2.
Wow.
I know. Because everybody's different, right?
Yeah, everyone's
Mine
so
is
different.
Predominantly eggs. And for whatever reason, I still love them. So I just can't, I still have one occasionally. And I will feel
saying that it's eggs for you.
I will feel the pain.
The first time that I tried having an egg, I had it the worst way. So I just put it in one in a Pyrex jug and mix it up, put it in the microwave. So it was quite solid. And I was just
gagging.
And then I had to go with some mates somewhere in London. So we were on the tube and I was just at the bottom of the escalator on the tube being like, and just like drooling. It didn't come up, but it was just like constant drool. And I was just like walking along and I was like, I can't stop the drool coming out. And so I can't really do any solid egg like that. I can do like a nice poached egg if it's good.
Yeah.
Like a runny scrambled egg, I kind of can, but eggs, you're right. You can't.
So most people that won't or don't have it, because I get people still talking to me almost on a daily basis, probably not quite that now, but it was for quite a while there. So for most of them, it is the thought that they will never eat a burger again, or you know what I mean? Like, and it's just, but it's just not true though either. Like I can eat a burger now. I mean, I have put on a little bit of weight. That's a reality as well.
Yeah.
I'm 6.5 years in. You
do put it on. Like I went from 145 kgs down to 87, and then now I'm back at like 98.
Yeah.
So, you do.
It's still a journey.
I've kind of been, I've been between 95 and 98.
Yeah.
But it is. You still got to be disciplined.
Yeah, you do.
Like you just have. It doesn't. You can sometimes feel that food addiction coming back, and you're like, no lollies, Lloydie, or no. So you just. Yeah. Yeah.
So even if you have the surgery, yes, it will make a huge difference. I lost most of my weight in the first 9 months. And it wasn't discipline. I just couldn't. Right. You just physically can't eat. If you ate too much too quickly, you were sick. So it just kind of stopped you from doing it. But for me, it was about 4 years before I started putting on a little bit more weight.
Can you eat a whole burger now?
Yeah.
With the buns? With the bread?
Yeah, pretty much.
Wow. I can't eat the buns. Like bread, I can't do. You talked about pasta, eh?
Yeah.
I'm still saying like carby, things like that.
Yeah.
I call it wasted real estate.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to put good things in there, not a big...
I don't eat sugar very much, and I avoid carbs more, but I like to save my calories for wine.
Oh, yeah. See, it's my 6 months down in Wellington, covering politics, the amount of beers and stuff that you have at the gallery.
Yeah.
And just doing your job and going and meeting with politicians and stuff.
So would you recommend people to have surgery if that's where the head's
I have.
Yeah.
I have people email me and they say, I heard you talking about this on your radio show or TV. Who'd you go through? And I just say, here you go. It's called Get Slim in Turkey, the silliest name ever, but off you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's expensive here. Do you think that we should pay publicly for more surgeries?
I think it would save the health system in the long run. You'd have to do it at scale, though, and you'd want to make sure that people know it's not liposuction. It's not a tummy tuck. They are chopping out a part of your organ. So make sure people do it the right. But I 100% think that it needs to be way more publicly available, because I was lucky that I was, one, in Europe, and two, could afford it and had 5,000 New Zealand dollars sitting in a savings account. And I was like, you know what, stuff it. The Turkish lira, the currency had collapsed, and it was now affordable. And I was like, let's do it. But here, what is it, 39,000?
27, 29, about 30,000.
30 grand? You need 30 grand?
Yeah. It's a lot of money, eh? When I did it, I think it was maybe 24.
Yeah. So that's a lot of money for people.
A lot.
How much is it going to cost the health system for those who are going to have diabetes or need early knee replacements or medications? All of the associated health effects, I think, will cost the health system in the long run. But it's just, in New Zealand, we just have the ambulance at the bottom of the cliff.
I just kind of went a new kitchen or a new body and went for the new body.
Yeah, and then you don't need the kitchen.
No.
Because you're just drinking coconut water.
All right, I'm with Lloyd. I mean, I try not to advise people on what they should do with their bodies, but all I can ever say to people is it's the best thing I've ever done. Yeah,
just consult a doctor as well.
Yeah.
I didn't go and see a GP. One of my mates I went to uni with is a doctor, and I went and talked to him, and we talked through it, went for a beer, and we talked through it, and he's like, I will support you in this. I think it's a good thing for you to do.
Yeah.
You're given all of these reasons. Make sure you're doing it for the right reasons and you've thought it through. But yeah, I'd 100% recommend it. No regrets. Would do it again.
The podcast is called Ask Me Anything, but I feel like I've shared a lot this time. Is there anything you particularly feel you need to ask me? No, I feel like you've had plenty of chances to
I've had so many chances of putting a microphone in front of your face.
You really have.
Yeah, and you've usually just answered it quite honestly.
Yeah, you have. And I've shared more this time than I normally do because it's something that we, that was about us both. Okay, well, Lloyd, thanks for coming in today and sharing your story. If people want to catch you, AM show on 3.
Yep, until June the 30th.
June the 30th.
Yeah.
6 till 9.
Yeah, at this stage, I mean, who knows? Things are quite fluid in our mediascape at the moment, but that's the plan for the stage. So, every morning from 6 till 9.
All right. And you're on socials?
Yep, I'm on socials. I think it's just at Lloyd Burr on most of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they'll find you.
Yeah, they'll find you.
Look, I really do wish you the best for everything that you've got coming up. And, last time when this happened, something really exciting happened for you.
Yeah.
And so let's hold on to that, shall we?
Yeah, who knows what the future holds. I can either marinate in misery and be like, this is all my fault, or I can go, this is an opportunity and something will come along. And if you've got the right mindset, it will.
Well, it's not your fault, so that's a good place to start.
That's the main thing.
I don't think you can bring a TV program down in a few weeks.
I know.
I think you're good, but I don't think you're quite that clever. All right?
Yeah, that was the plan all along.
Yeah.
TVNZ employed me to then,
Yeah, to demise.
But yeah, I mean, I've loved it. And
it is great.
It's a great job, but something else will pop up. Don't know what it is yet, but yeah.
That's cool. Okay, that's it for another episode of Ask Me Anything. You can get in touch with me by emailing askpaula@nzherald.co.nz. Feel free to send me through your questions to the podcast, any thoughts you have. You can't find me on socials right now because I've been hacked again and again and again. I'm not kidding. They've taken over my Instagram and my Facebook. Don't buy Bitcoin from me.
Oh, yes, your Facebook. I saw that because I think we're friends on Facebook.
Yeah.
It said, I made $52,000
That's exactly,
from Bitcoin.
In 3 weeks or something stupid, So anyway, then they've gone in and changed all my emails and now they've gone into Instagram as well. Twice I've tried to shut it all down and I'm just a bit over it at the moment. So
fair enough too.
So you'll need to email me because I'm not on anything right now, which is quite fun, to be honest. Okay, make sure you follow Ask Me Anything on iHeartRadio, wherever you get your podcasts. You can also read my weekly column in the Herald on Sunday. I'm Paula Bennett. Ask me anything. Goodbye.